Limiting beliefs are going to have the biggest effect on your well being than 99.9% of what's actually going on here, right? And if you don't believe me, it's because of your limiting belief, okay? Yes. When we think, for example, this place isn't safe. I'm not safe. I'm not safe here. I am not safe. Maybe it's true. You need to move to another place, right? And that's just like your intuition is telling you, hey, this place isn't safe. Move. That's empowered mindset, right? Victim mindset is it's not safe, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have to live here, right? So you see the difference. It makes a huge difference. And so your mental and emotional health will depend on your ability to let go. Repeat after me. Let go, let go, let go of beliefs that no longer serve you. Hello, gorgeous, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Spiritual Rebel podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about the three main disruptors of mental and emotional well-being. Yes, it is so important to understand that your mental and emotional well-being is based on what choices you're making. But in this podcast today, I want to give you some really strong tools and strategies so that you can start taking back control of those two important elements of your well-being, right? When your mind's right, your emotions are right. So it's very important to understand what is causing the disruption of that well-being. So let's dive into number one. So number one is stuck in limited beliefs. Okay, now we all know this. We all know this. I want to start showing you that it's very important to shift from knowing it mentally to knowing it in an embodied way. When you know this information in an embodied way, it results in transformation. It results in your life totally changing. Yes? When you know that your money issues are not just because you're unlucky, but because you believe you're unlucky, oh, boom. Okay. When you know that your money issues are not just because you don't have the right people or you don't have money to invest, those thoughts are limiting beliefs. Yes. As soon as you shift your belief, you shift your attitude, you shift your actions. Yeah. And most importantly, you shift your emotions, because if you believe that, I don't have people who will help me with investing. I need more money to make money, and I don't have the money, and you get the energy of what I'm saying here, right? It's what we talked about in the last podcast is victim mindset all the way, right? So limiting beliefs are going to have the biggest effect on your well-being than 99.9% of what's actually going on here, right? And if you don't believe me, it's because of your limiting belief, okay? Yes. When we think, for example, this place isn't safe. I'm not safe. I'm not safe here. I am not safe. Maybe it's true. You need to move to another place, right? And that's just like your intuition is telling you, hey, this place isn't safe. Move. That's empowered mindset, right? Victim mindset is it's not safe, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have to live here, right? So you see the difference. It makes a huge difference. And so your mental and emotional health will depend on your ability to let go. Repeat after me. Let go, let go, let go of beliefs that no longer serve you. Yes, even if it's like some people say, yeah, but that's my experience. Boom. Let's talk about that, right? Your experience is in the past. Now, if you don't want to bring your past into your present, into your future, you need to keep your past in the past where it belongs. Okay. So yes, you may have experienced something in the past which wasn't good. What's the lesson you're going to learn from it? Yes, from that past experience, so that you can bring that lesson into the present moment. In the present moment, you alchemize your past, you transform your experience, and then you create a new future from that transformed version of yourself, right? So that ability to bring yourself into present moment out of the victim mindset, right? Out of the story of what has happened in the past. And then the thought is maybe, well, what do I want to create in the future? A lot of us don't think forward. We don't think about dreams or imagine what we want. We are very much stuck in the past or complaining about the present, but we're not envisioning a different future. And that's a very important part of shifting your mindset, is to be able to imagine and dream about the future. And also, when you're creating, if you can't think it, you can't create it, right? If you can't imagine it, you cannot do it. So this process of being able to future pace, right? Think about what you want. What do I want? What do I really want? And it's not about what do you want that you think is possible, because that puts you back in the limiting belief spot, right? No, this is about thinking about what you want, whether you think it's possible or you think it's impossible. You're just tuning into your values, your true desires, like what you really want. So if you say, look, I want to earn, let's say, $1 million. Okay. For some of you, that's going to feel like, it's going to feel like that's what you want, that you want that. That's what you want. For some of you, it's going to feel like, no, I want 500K. That's totally okay for me. If I could, I'm earning 100K. So for me saying I want to get to where I'm earning 500K feels like I'm stretching myself. I don't even know how I'm going to get there, but that's what I want. And often we don't allow ourselves to think bigger because we've been taught it's unrealistic. Yeah, you need to be realistic. And when you're being realistic, you will squash your dreams. You will not even get into real connection with what you really want. Yes, because what you really want might not be what the society or the books or the education or anything tells you is possible, right? What you want might be outside of that box. It might be in a place where for most people, that's not possible for you. And by the way, I'm living proof, not just myself, also many of my clients that I've worked with, of creating the impossible. What people said, this isn't possible. You are crazy. I mean, I can give you the example of having to leave high school when I was 16 years old because of being, sexually touched inappropriately from my stepfather, and he was becoming more and more aggressive in his sexual advances. So I left home and went to stay in a girls' hostel. That means I needed to leave school because I needed to work to pay my own life, because once I moved out of home, my mom basically told me, if you move out of here, you're on your own. And for me was no way that I could stay, just clear that I needed to move out. So I moved out. I started working, right? I started to create amazing life for myself. I got one of the most prestigious jobs in the country. At one point, I was running one of the top modeling agencies in Zimbabwe. So I already started to create miracles even before I started shifting my mindset. And what I think about that is when you follow your heart, you're living in a friendly universe that's designed to support you. When you take care of yourself, when you choose to make decisions that are about your well-being, and you're saying, I'm worthy of something better, magic starts creating, right? So make sure that you really understand you are affecting your life through the decisions that you're making, right? So I left school at an early age, but I've still built a 7-figure global personal growth company, right? Over the years of my life, I could keep dreaming, thinking, imagining, and was able to create outside of what anyone told me was possible with the education that I have and with the things that had happened to me. So I've helped people create the impossible. I've created the impossible. I'm still in the process of creating the impossible. I have more dreams and things that I want to give birth to that are outside of the realm of what my little me, the little Mahima, the inner child that thinks is possible, the limiting belief part of me. Because there is that aspect of all of us. But then there's also our spiritual being, yes, which is limitless, which knows limitless potential, which knows that you're working with quantum energy, you're working with being able to imagine and take action out of those imaginations, being able to work with elevated energy, that when your energy is elevated, you are a magnet to different experiences, right? So it's very important to understand that your belief systems are extremely important. So let's move on to number 2 of the things that are going to affect you mentally and emotionally like crazy. So the second one is being affected by other people's energy, other people's stories. Yes, getting caught up in other people's pain and suffering. Now, this is one of the ones that are very delicate because we've been taught that we need to have empathy and we need to be kind to others. And therefore, we are taught that in a way, we need to sort of like take on the emotional burden of someone else's story. Not at all. I'm here to tell you that empathy has got nothing to do with that. How can we make sure that other people's negative emotions, negative decisions that are affecting their life negatively, negative habits, because some people have negative habits, whether that's drinking, smoking, addictions, all types of things that cause them to be in a spiral downwards. And then you're being affected because you are taking those people on. And then instead of just dealing with your own personal problems and your own issues, you've also taken on the other people's issues, right? So this is affecting people's mental health in an insane amount of way. And especially today where we can extend our who we get involved with, right, through the internet. We can expand this no end. So you can spend a lot of time consuming negative information that has nothing to do with your own life, but you're still taking part in that negative energy. Let me give you an example. I got caught up in the P. Diddy trial. Okay, I got caught up, and I never get caught up in these type of things because I know what type of energy it brings. But here's what happened. I actually met P. Diddy. I actually had a moment where I was somewhere in New York and a guy brought me into P. Diddy's office. He said, I'm going to introduce you to Puff Daddy, right? Who knows? Maybe potentially trying to recruit me for one of those crazy freak offs or whatever. I've got no clue. Okay. All I know is that I was 24 years old. Okay. I was at that point traveling around the world. I'd already done all of this beautiful work on myself. I couldn't even imagine, right? I could never imagine because he was already famous back then that I would even come that close to a superstar. I'm sitting in the office of P. Diddy. We're vibing. We're talking. He's like, oh, you're African. Seems to be some good vibes. And then the phone rings. And just like that, P. Diddy cut the meeting. He said, I've got to take this call. I'm sorry, this meeting's over. And boom, that was it. I stood up and left the room. It was very sudden because, it was just like from one moment to the next. And that was it. I never saw P. Diddy again. Thank goodness, is what I can say. So when this whole trial came up, I started to be interested because I was like, okay, what are they talking about? Okay. And as I watched and consumed the information and heard what happened to the people that are involved in this, I literally started to feel it creating toxicity of emotion inside of me as I felt like, women that had been abused and, whether it happened or didn't happen, alleged happening. But the point is that I felt the emotions. And that is why I say you have to choose very carefully what you consume. Yes? who you stay around. If you have negative people doing negative things and they're in your life, you're creating that in your system. Every time you hear their story and they're like, oh my God, my life, la 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 la, la, you're literally taking that on, and it's causing you to lower your frequency. Fact, whether you like to hear this or not, right? So it's very important to select very carefully who you hang out with, right? And also to understand that you can have empathy without taking on someone else's story. Your mother's pain is your mother's pain because your mother is an adult. Okay? Your mother is an adult. She's making decisions that are going to affect her life. Her limiting beliefs, her emotional state is affecting what is happening to her. You can't live your mother's life. Yes, she's going to do what she's going to do, and you need to let her do what she's going to do. And you need to get on with your own life, dealing with your own emotional dramas, your own emotional trips, and your own decisions. And not like, oh, I'm going to take on the pain of my mom, the pain of my best friend, the pain. This is what we're taught, and it's freaking normal. I'm here to tell you that is not okay. It's okay to have the most empathic heart. I hold space for those people that are in suffering. I hold space, and I wish them only to have, like I did, an enlightened moment where they wake up and understand you're not a victim. You're co-creating your reality through your thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? And that the person will have that enlightened moment and start taking powerful decisions for themselves, right? So I want you, the next time you're in a situation with anybody that is suffering, to hold the space for them by being elevated. Yes, in your elevated state of consciousness, you can help them energetically. You can't solve someone's problems. You can't take decisions for them. You can't stop the suffering for them. So stop trying to. Stay with yourself. Stay with your own life. Stay with your own emotions. And what I advise you to do is work on being grounded, on being centered, on being present, on understanding you came into this world with nothing. You're going to leave with nothing. So none of this matters. None of this matters. It's a game. Yeah, between birth and death is a game. And your role here is to find out how you can live your full potential day by day by day. Full potential for me means living with gratitude, living with love, living with curiosity, living with a playful heart, living with creativity and abundance. And this is your role, to bring the best of yourself out and offer that to the people who are able to receive it. Yes? So let me just recap the two things that we've covered so far about what affects your mental and emotional health the most: limiting beliefs and being affected by other people's energies and stories, instead of knowing how to let them live their story and you live your own story, right? Number 3 in the lineup for today is not having the tools to transform. Yes. So let's say being in a mental and emotional dark place or unsettling place or fragmented place or not good place, and then feeling like, I don't know how to shift this. I don't know how to still my mind. I don't know how to get my emotions to not be on a roller coaster. I don't feel like I have the know-how or the tools to get myself out of these sticky, limiting beliefs that I have. So that is, the third thing that's going to affect one's mental and emotional well-being the most, is feeling powerless to change, feeling like I don't know how to help myself and how to get out of this. Trying things. I tried this, I tried that, but nothing's working, right? And the more you try, the more you feel like, it's not working. So that is the third thing that's going to affect people very strongly in terms of mental and emotional well-being. And my advice to you is stop trying to do it on your own. I have not got myself to the empowered mindset that I have today because I did it by myself. Yes, I did the work. but I had teachers and I had communities that I listened, I followed their ideas, I did their meditations, I did the guided experiences, I did the group journey, I did the support me, I need help. I see people all the time that come even into trainings that don't have the I'm going to get the support I need here mindset. They've already come with, I've tried so many things. I've tried so many things. This isn't going to work. This isn't like, right? But they're still trying because they know that they can't do it on their own. So I want you to really listen closely to this next part. In order to get support from someone, you need to be in your heart resonance. First of all, find a person that literally opens your heart. That's the first thing. You've got to feel that I love, love, love what this person's saying, love their energy, love their teachings, love their guidance. Boom. I'm going to listen to this person. They have some information that I do not have. Yes, whether that's about getting into a better mental and emotional place, whether that's building revenue that while you're sleeping, right? Whether that's pivoting from your job into entrepreneurship, you going to need to get some help in order to receive the help. That's a mindset. You can buy the program, but not be in the right mindset to receive the help, right? So that is an attitude of being a student, being willing to be a student. And I want you to think of the times where there was martial art masters, right? That would have students that they would say, hey, you're going to sit here and you're going to throw this punch 100 times. And until you've thrown this punch 100 times, I'm not teaching you another punch, right? So this old school philosophy of master, proceed, master, proceed, master, proceed, as opposed to today where it's consume, 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 not mastering anything and therefore not proceeding, right? So you want to make sure that you're in that mindset of I am going to master the basics, right? Everyone in this world deserves to be in a mental and emotional place of empowerment. They should be teaching this in schools, but sadly they do not. And I honestly don't blame the schools only. I also blame the parents. Yes, because parents don't understand unity and spiritual activism, meaning being actively seeking a united spiritual front for kids, right? That means a kid going to school, and whether he's Muslim or Jewish or Christian or Hindu, that there is a spiritual revolution that has taken place that will teach core spiritual concepts that can be agreed upon by all these different fractions of, cultures and religions. And so that in the core of an education system, there is spiritual development. Yes, human potential development, mindset training, heart set training, energy frequency training and understanding and mastering. So let's recap what we've learned, the three things that are going to affect your mental and emotional well-being the most. Number one is your limiting beliefs. Yes. Number two is being affected by other people's energies and stories. And number three is feeling like you don't know how to get out of your own shadow moments, shadow thinking, negative experience. Don't have the tools. I don't know what to do. I'm trying a bunch of things, but I just feel like I keep spiraling or returning back or just going around in circles. And we've talked solutions. Yes, all three of these things, the advice I have for you to move forward is find a teacher, find a community, become a student. Your mental and emotional well-being is the most important thing that you need to hold on to, right? Like if there's anything that you want to be attached to, it's feeling awesome mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, right? So I highly recommend you to prioritize that, put that on the top of your list, and then find people that you love their teachings, love their exercises, activations, their guidance to how you can get to those empowered mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual places. That's it, guys. Please continue spreading the love of the Spiritual Rebel podcast that is here to cause a revolution that hasn't been seen so far on planet Earth, which is spiritual unity for humanity. We need to come together spiritually, but we need to grow as individuals to be able to put the right ideas in each other's hearts that we can co-create a spirituality that brings us together. Love you guys. I can't wait to read your comments. Please tell me what you think about these three things, and also remember the solution and make sure that you're taking those actions to empower yourself so that you can make this world a better place by being strong mentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Okay? Love you guys. Bye. Bye-bye. See you next week.